everyone, welcome back to Risky Rollers. We are here today doing a Codex review.
Oh yeah.
We have the very sexy new Adeptus Custodes book. Now before we get too far into this one, we'll let you know if you wanted to win one of these, or the Genes to the Cult one that came out alongside it, go check out our battle report. Make sure to comment on it with which one you'd like to win and be subscribed.
Yes.
We're drawing that in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So
with that comment, just comment Custodes or Genes to the Cult or GSC or whatever.
Yeah, just so we know which one you're after, because we'll put you in the draw for that one.
Yeah.
It's a good looking cover.
It is. It's okay.
Very sexy.
It's okay.
That bit's okay. But the rest of it's, that bit's pretty good.
The axe is massive. The scale of the axe.
Have you seen the axes?
Yeah, but it's bigger than his chest on that.
Because this is going to be great for you guys.
Yeah.
Look at this.
You know, of him though, of his own guy.
Yeah, but he's not a Terminator. He's just a
right. Okay. Okay.
So 100%. So what we have proven here is that the axe looks good.
Yeah.
So you want the book? Yeah. So the book is good. It's nice, it's polished. It has a bookmark in it now, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
That's something that hasn't been done before, as far as we're aware.
So what were your initial thoughts on the book?
My initial thoughts were pretty good. The book is fine.
Yeah.
Having a read through it, having a look at all the leaks and stuff that were coming out, and thinking about the way it is to use it. Nothing, as we said in the podcast a couple of weeks ago, nothing's really been lost. Really. Except therapy involves, which we're done.
Very.
So it's good they're gone.
I mean, involves are just dumb anyway, but
well, yeah, but 3 of involves are worse. But yeah, so look, nothing really has been lost. Swooping Dive maybe was the one biggest thing. Swooping Dive and changes to bikes and obsec.
Yeah, again,
we'll cover those when we get to that bits of the book.
Yeah, we talk about that in the podcast too.
Yeah, but look, nothing major's been lost. You've added a few extra bonuses, so as far as the army plays, good stuff.
I think it plays better.
It feels better to play as well.
It feels, sorry, yeah, the very phrase. It feels more Custodes and less Space Marines.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
So that was in fact, because we've played a couple of games now against Genes to the Cults and of course filmed that rep, which you guys can see now.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was it felt like they had the 8th edition book, still played 9th reasonably well. Didn't really have too many issues, but now this book has just the little tweaks that needed to be made to make it fit, to make it work better and engage with the missions just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Have been made. Not a lot needed to be changed, not a lot was changed, but just enough to play well.
Yeah. Well, what's not changed? What has changed? What's the biggest change?
Biggest change would be all the additions of the carters and the chapter tactics, shield hosts, which are
It's so funny how that is just the general terminology for any army's the internal faction.
The game is what, Space Marine 40,000, right? That's what it is.
I think it's 240,000. Excuse me, but whatever.
So, regarding the book, you've got all of this lovely miniature photos and all this lore. It's good stuff.
Which we haven't got to yet.
No,
have you?
I've had a bit of a read through it. I've skimmed most of it and read a few of the bits in it.
Is it relevant? Is there any kind of new stuff? Or is it kind of more...
I haven't got to the end bit of it yet, which is, I assume, where you've got more of that. I mean, it's still new for Custodes to be off Terra.
Yeah.
Doing stuff.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Because, I mean, there's been a few publications that have actually kind of, focused on that. Not so much publication, books that have deliberately, drawn attention to that fact. So I thought maybe there might be some key
there's mentioned on a few things where they're now off Terra, they're doing other stuff.
Yeah, right.
But nothing, I haven't read anything that's like, oh, this is revelatory for the setting. Except, apparently, hidden deep within the vaults of Terra, where the Shadowkeepers are keeping everyone locked up, they've got, amongst many other dangerous foes, Subject 11.
Altharius?
Well, no, because they were the 20th Legion.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
Who knows about Subject 11? What they could possibly be?
One's lost and one's dead. Oh, he's lost because he's in Vaults Terra.
Remember?
So what? The Emperor just chucked him there and was like, right, have fun being in prison for 20,000 years.
It's been pretty funny watching people come up with crazy theories about it. Maybe he's affected by the rundown, and maybe all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe it's a throwaway line in the Codex to
make people
lose their minds about stuff.
It's facetious as can be, right?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as Trazen apparently having one of the Primarchs. Like that. There's
he has the clone. He gives him. He gives him.
Yeah, but before that, it was rumored that he had one of the missing Primarchs. And now it's but it turned out to be a custodian.
Well, he has a Cork, right?
He's got multiple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it was
rumored he had a missing Primarch, and then it's like, oh no, actually it's a custodian. Now the custodians are rumored to have a missing Primarch. It's like, oh no, actually
maybe they have Trazen. And it's the old switcheroo. Anyway.
Right. So, once we get to the rule section of the book, which is laid out as well as the rest of the books, which is not very well.
Yes.
But that's hardly a gripe with this book. It's just the way they lay them out.
Yeah.
You've got a few changes there. Of course, your Sisters of Silence are now rolled straight into them. They're no longer using that weird White Dwarf supplement just to soup them in.
Which is great.
Which is fantastic. I like the Sisters. I'm keen to paint up a few. So we'll get to that when we get to the data sheets.
Yep.
But they're all included. They've got the Anathema Arcana keyword, which works as you think it does. It doesn't break detachments as long as you keep even numbers of Custodes and Sisters. And you can
it's
run
1 for
them,
1, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can run them in their own attachment entirely separately, not getting all the Custodes benefits, of course, but just as Sisters.
So, question.
Yeah.
Can you run a full Sisters army?
Yes, but you're going to run into problems with Rule of 3 very quickly, because they're not expensive.
Ah.
So
you could do like a 500 or 750 point game, but then you don't get Warlord Traits, right? Because you can't have a HQ slot from Sisters to be a Warlord, yeah?
Yes, you can.
Oh, you can?
But you can't do that if you're taking an Adeptus Custodes detachment.
Ah.
So the way it works, which I've seen misinterpreted a couple of times,
right?
The way it works is when you're building your detachment, it's either an Adeptus Custodes detachment or a Sisters Anathema Arcana detachment. If it's an Anathema Arcana detachment, you can take all Sisters.
Yeah.
Your HQ, you've got the generic one and a layer.
Yeah.
And then you've got
so
3 troop choices and a rhino. Oh, sorry, a troop choice, 3 infantry choices: a troop, an elites, and a fast attack, and a rhino.
Yeah.
So you
because it used to be they were all troops, and you
Yes.
just picked the different weapon options that you wanted.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
In the White Dwarf.
Sure it was. Yeah.
But they've been separated out now, so you can take 3 prosecutors, 3 vigilators, and as many of the
Witch Seekers?
3 witch seekers and 3 prosecutors, and as many vigilators as you want, because they're the troops. I think.
But the rule of 3, though, as you say.
But that ignores the troops.
Oh, cool. So you can do it then.
Yeah, but because you're going to have just like 100 Sisters.
Can you do a brigade? No, because you don't have the HQs. Oh, and you don't have heavy support.
Yeah.
Because Forgeville doesn't make the fly. Isn't there a?
No, sorry. Yeah, vigilators are the elites. It's the prosecutors that are
the prosecutors are the normal.
troops,
the troops. Yeah.
I was right the first time round with that. But so you can, but you're going to run into problems where you're just spamming the troops unit because that's all you can.
Yeah, but still, that's cool.
It is pretty cool.
Like that's a good counter to any psychic. So what does the Anathema Arcana thing actually give you?
Well, I'll get to that in a moment because there's a few new universal special rules. You've got Emperor's Legion, which is explaining all of this. If you can't do it in an Adeptus Custodes detachment, and then you can't include more Anathema Arcana than Adeptus Custodes.
Yep.
And you can't be a Warlord in the detachment, etc. Emperor's Legion, everyone's got that. Cool. Host of Heroes is a restriction on how many shield captains you can take. You can only take 1 of each of the 3 shield captains in any given detachment.
As in the type
they are.
The Terminator, the
Terminator, bike.
Okay.
So you can have multiple bikes in a list by taking more than 1 detachment, but you can't have multiple bike captains in 1 detachment.
And that is just standard 9th edition.
Yep. It's interesting. You can still take all 3 in 1 detachment.
Which is weird.
But I like it. I appreciate that it's not, because Custodes are an elite army, you're going to be strapped for points. It's not like, you have to be taking multiple detachments just to get more than 1 HQ.
And really, like, you don't even need them. Like, let me rephrase. You wouldn't be taking the extra detachments for the extra HQ slots. Like, realistically, you're taking it for your fast attack choices or whatever it else is because you want to build something specific. So, whatever.
Then you've got Watchers of the Throne, which essentially points that all Adeptus Custodes models for the purposes of Lookout Sir, as in all infantry and biker ones, count as 2 models instead of 1 for Lookout Sir. That's kind of cool. Means they're protected by 2 models instead of 3.
Right. That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. And then shield host fighting styles. And this is where shield hosts come in. Essentially, it's chapter tactics. You've got 6 different shield hosts you can pick from. They each gain 2 traits, which are their fighting styles, and all Adeptus Custodes units with that ability get those traits.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah, that's it. So the shield hosts are all pretty straightforward. We'll jump right over to those.
So what does the Anathema Arcana stuff do?
The Anathema Arcana stuff, so that's actually not here. That's
is that not there? That's weird because it's listed right there.
That's saying that you can take the units. That's the other one.
Right. Okay,
it's all Datasheet Abilities by the looks of it. No, Daughters of the Abyss, sorry. Which is weirdly laid out
somewhere else.
The Datasheet Abilities, not in the Universe Special Rules.
Okay.
Cool. Which we'll get to when we get
I guess because you don't have to take sisters, right?
I guess so, yeah. It's not necessarily relevant.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So your shield hosts are your chapter tactics. It's cool. You've got a couple of traits that adjust the way your army works.
Yep.
You've got a martial kata, which we'll get to when we get to those, which is like the...
it's a monofaction bonus,
It's a monofaction bonus, like your doctrines, your command protocols, etc.
Yeah.
And they essentially have the same thing as Necrons, which is when you're in a certain one, depending on your shield host, you get both benefits. So we'll explain that once we get to it.
Necron protocols, everybody.
Yeah.
Which everyone has always said since it was first released.
Yeah, they are.
But better.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we all know you got the prototype book, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone thanks you. That's it, because literally,
look,
if it wasn't for you,
took one for the team. That's
Necron and Death Guard, I reckon, set the trend for the entire of the edition.
They really did.
They were the 2 big testers in it. Yeah.
So, probably 3 shield hosts I want to point out. The first one is the Emperor's Chosen. Now, this is classified as a shield host within the book. However, lorically, it's not a shield host. This is the catch-all term for any custodian who may not be operating or deployed as a part of a named shield host. Is the
Emperor's pleb custodian.
Well, and your captains and everyone else.
Yeah.
But they're just not deployed in a shield host, they're deployed in their own stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you've got your own custom narrative for your shield host or your deployment, you can run them as Emperor's Chosen because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So they're like your generic custodians.
Your Ultramarines.
Yeah, but cooler because they're not Smurfs. And they've got their 2 traits. Their shield host fighting style is called Magna Imperator. And it's just every time they shoot a fight, they can reroll 1 hit or 1 wound roll. It's expert crafters.
Yeah,
which is cool.
So per attack, right?
When resolving that unit's attacks, so it's per unit.
Okay.
So it is expert crafters.
Yeah, it's expert crafters, exactly.
Which is nice. They've got both of them. A lot of things like the Necron's got expert crafters for just wounding. Salamander's just wounding.
Yeah, it's the same. There's a few others.
Or just hitting. So there's a few different ones there. They've got both of them because they're golden boys and they're better than everyone else.
And that's kind of cool if you're going into, like, I guess, a big heavy support, like mechanized sort of anti-tank one. Like even some of these things right now, like that's 2 shots. They're 2 shots each.
Yep.
The Arachnis gun, or whatever they're called, the storm cannons.
Yep.
You know, so you're going to see a lot of mileage if you're kind of taking into that style of list.
Yeah,
even like the melter missiles.
The salvo launchers.
Yeah, salvos.
This would be great with salvo launchers
Yeah,
because you've got that variable shots, but they're still low numbers.
That's crazy.
So
good.
you can be just rerolling those essentially melter missiles.
So, you know, I feel like, just quickly before we keep moving on, that these shield hosts more than... actually, this is very... The Gen Steel book's very similar, where the depth that they've built in these hosts, or the chapter tactics, as you say, you can have such good build-arounds, like
it's not obvious.
Yeah, but you can...
Once you start thinking about it, you can really pull some depth.
This is synergizing here and more than I think what they've done in other books. I think it's very similar to somewhat like some of the admech combos that you can pull out. Which is cool, which is really cool.
Yep.
But not without the busted power that some of the other stuff has. But yeah.
And then the second trait they get from this shield host is they, on a 4+, they ignore mortal wounds. So everyone inbuilt has a 6+, feel no pain against mortal wounds. They get it on a 4+.
4+, feel no pain is ridiculous.
On mortal wounds, but still ridiculous. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. They're durable and they're a little bit extra killy.
I mean, that's your psychic counter right there, right?
Other than sisters, yeah.
Yeah.
And that pretty much sorts basic custodians, right?
Yeah.
They're tough, they kill well. Yeah.
So do they justify that lorically?
Essentially, it's kind of like baseline custodians.
Yeah, okay.
essentially.
As in like the 4-up, I mean, feel no pain. There's no flavor text for that ability?
No. Not really.
Okay.
So the flavor text is just they're blessed with gifts the Emperor has given them: physical might, mental robustness, and the most powerful arms and armor available. So just your generic custodians, they're like, oh, we'll give them something to make sure they sort of match the rest of the shield hosts with power level.
Yeah.
It just happens to be something that they could all function with, and they've just got it there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then they have Stratagem, 1 CP, for Esteemed Amalgam, which you use in the command in the command phase.
Command foes.
It's a good day for this today. In the command phase, and it puts one of your units into a different shield host's fighting style for that turn.
So that would be not the Carter, right? That's just their tactic.
Style. Yeah, which would...
that's cool. That's kind of cool.
As far as I read it, it would let you utilise their special Carter.
Okay.
As in, if you're already in that Carter, you would be able to use that shield host's both of them.
Yeah, right. The 1 and 2, right?
That's... Yeah, because it's part of the shield host fighting style.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm reading it, yeah.
Sick.
So correct us if we're
that
wrong.
was for what? 1 CP?
1 CP, yep, for a turn to put a unit with a different
That's
shield
super
host.
Cool and situational.
You lose those two benefits.
Obviously. It's not in addition.
But you gain
The other ones.
what's needed. I'll come back to this a bit later with the way the Carters can be changed and fiddled with and the way this is fiddled with, but I really like that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. They've got a Warlord Trait, Auric Exemplar, which is that every time a Warlord fights, he can make a number of attacks after fighting equal to the number of models he's already killed in that combat. So if he's, fighting some guardsmen and kills 6 of them with his 6 attacks, he makes another 6 attacks.
Like immediately after?
To a maximum of 4 attacks.
Okay,
Sorry, right, he kills up to 4 models, he makes
kills
up to 4 more attacks.
30 homogons, gets 30 attacks. I mean, you can't.
Not that there'd be anything left to attack with, but yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you're making a beat stick character, I like it.
Yeah.
It'll just make them a bit more punchy, provided you're going into the right sort of units that you can kill.
Yeah.
And then they've got a Relic, a Paragon Spear, which is a fancy Guardian Spear. Rapid fire, strength 5, -2, damage 2, and then...
So what's that different from a normal one?
So from a normal ones are strength 4, -1, damage 2.
Right.
So it's strength 5, -1, damage 2. Alright, and then in melee it's +3 instead of +2.
Yep.
And then -5 instead of -3, still damage 2. It's a good point. It'll put a 2 up to a 7
okay,
up.
-4 I understand, because it's going to pretty much -4 is going to force you invert every time.
Yep, and -5,
Most
if there's no invuln, -5 will stop any save, except for a 1-up.
Which I guess you get from Storm Shields. I don't know. I'm just,
But if you're using Storm Shields, you don't invuln anyway.
I'm getting distracted because it's just like, why have -5 and -6?
Yeah, it's kind of underwhelming. A lot of the relics from the shield hosts are kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the package. So you wanted to mention the chosen one. Is it because you think the package is like a good...
I've wanted to mention it for 2 reasons. Firstly was that Stratagem, which I'll come back to later.
Yeah, which is cool.
And secondly, they're like the generic ones.
Yeah.
If you're painting it with custodians and you're like, oh, I like this colour scheme or that colour scheme, and don't worry about shield hosts, they're Emperor's chosen, and you can just pick which one you like.
So do you reckon that's the easiest way for entry, or whatever what do they call it?
Yeah, as far as the shield hosts go, that's your point of entry. That's
yeah.
Unless you've already got a specific idea of how you want to play the army or...
Yeah, so for new Custodes players, right? Like,
exactly, yeah. Emperor's chosen, that's where to go.
Cool.
The second one is actually the second one in here. Sorry, no, it's not. It is...
Not Jordan. Yes?
It's the one...
The one that you played. Solarwatch.
No, that's the third one. Oh no, it is, yeah. So second one is Solarwatch, which is the one, it's my favourite one, purely for 2 reasons. The first thing is the name of their shield fighting style, and the second one is the name of their Warlord Trait.
Yeah.
So the shield host fighting style is Talon Sortie.
Talon Sortie.
And the Warlord Trait is Sally Forth. And the only thing I can imagine is the shield captain sitting at the back with a cup of tea going, Sally Forth, it's time for a Talon Sortie.
Talon Sortie. Talon Sortie. And then like tips his hat to like to his other Sally Forth. Sally Forth. Sally Forth. Oh, Sally Forth, boys. Silly.
Oh, it's so good.
Why that though too? Obviously they're inspired by some kind of English thing, right?
So kind of
English royal or something.
So Solarwatch they're the guardians on Terra. They're the ones who are protecting the Emperor, protecting the Imperial Palace.
But it's the whole Sol system though, right?
The whole Sol system, yes, but specifically Terra.
Yeah.
Because, Mars is a hellhole protected by
But they're not the ones that are burnt, though. They're not the ones that actually protect the Golden Throne.
That's them.
Oh, that's them?
They're the Soul System, yeah. You mean the specific
the specific guys that the guard
that's
that
not
have
a shield
to
host.
bust.
That's a small cadre of the most elite of the
It'd be cool if you
custodians.
could have those units. Because that's how. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, you get distracted too much.
So they've got pretty cool stuff happening there, and I do actually quite like the way they play and the way their rules are. So their 2 traits are they add 1 to advance and charge rolls, or add 1 if they auto advance 6 like bikes do. So it's a little bit faster and a little bit more maneuverable.
Well, it's good when you got a pretty slow army.
It is, yeah. And then their second trait is that they are eligible to declare a charge in a turn they fell back, which I really like because it means that once I'm up in my enemy's lines, I'm charging things, I'm in combat, I can still just move around and do what I want.
So the first one,
Yep.
Does it affect their move characteristic in their fallback?
No, because you can't advance in a fallback. It's only advance and charge.
Oh, right. So it's your +1 movement.
No,
sorry.
advance and charge.
Should listen.
Yeah. But they can charge after falling back, which is really nice. If you've checked out our battle report, which you should definitely do after this if you haven't yet, you see me using it all the time. Specifically with the bike captain. He goes and hits something and then just leaves. He's like, alright, I'm going to have it over here and kill this instead.
Well, having super durable units that can fall back and do anything is great. I mean, fallback and charge is great because you just fall back on one charge to another, and you essentially just get yourself extra movement, right? You know how good charging and consolidating and piling in can get you more movement, and for an army that's slow, maximizing that extra, essentially potentially 6 inches of movement you're getting each
penalty.
time.
You can't be stuck in combat. There's no penalty to that.
Yeah,
you can still be wrapped, sure, but you're killing enough stuff. It's not really that big of an issue.
Yeah, 100%.
So their stratagem is a bit meh, which is every time you kill an enemy 1 CP, the Eagle Strike. When you kill the enemy's Warlord, -1 to combat attrition for the rest of the game.
Nobody's picking that ever.
Yeah. Drukhari have a similar strat. It's
probably better though.
It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of fluffy. Pray they don't take you alive. It's a good one. It's kind of fluffy. They're not a good strat. You wouldn't use it very often.
Yeah.
But if it does come up, maybe you're playing a low leadership army, or one where the Warlord is like the linchpin of the leadership, which maybe guard and the commissar's the Warlord. I don't know. I guess
morale's not a thing.
Yeah. But then Sally Forth is the Warlord trait, which is at the start of your charge phase, select 1 friendly Solarwatch infantry unit within 6 inches of this Warlord, and they can advance and charge.
And if you've seen the latest
and the
first strategic corner, you'll see that used to great effect.
Yep. So actually, I had this in the back up as well, but it didn't come up. But using the bike captain, you can just shoot a unit of infantry way up the board real fast.
Yeah.
And it doubles down on the traits, and I like that it fits with that.
Yeah.
Because the trait is +1 to advance and charge, so you're getting +1 to your advance, and then you're charging, so you're getting a +1 there as well.
Yeah, I mean the thing with this one, I think the reason why you like, speak for yourself obviously, but is the movement, and movement is so key to the game now, right?
Yeah.
Like it is, and filling that. You could argue say that the biggest downside to Custodes across the board is their ability to accurately and effectively maneuver around the board.
Yes,
right?
they're slow.
Yeah, so being able to mitigate that in any way possible, even if it's only by a small margin, I mean, it all counts. Inches matter. They literally do. It could be the difference between like a 10 or a 15 point swing sometimes, depending on objectives.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's super important. I see why you like it.
Yeah, it's good. And then the relic is the Swift Silver Talon, which is another Guardian Spear.
Really?
It is.
So there's 2 separate shield hosts that have Guardian Spears as things.
There's...
Oh, don't tell me there's more.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, and then one of them has a Castellan axe.
What?
Yeah.
Relic weapons are just...
Yeah. And it's +2 strength and -4 damage 2 in melee. Otherwise, it's AP -2 at shooting.
So what's the
but it lets the bearer shoot and charge after falling back. So they could already charge, but now they can shoot and charge as well.
With what? 2 shots?
With that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you'd put it on a...
Why not? Okay, so why not?
What you would do is you would put it on Terminator Captain with his Ballastaris.
But can you take 2 relics for a thing?
No, so you can't give him Obliteratum. Because you just give him Obliteratum instead.
Yeah, but it'd be sick if you could fall back and then shoot.
That would be cool. Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah. There's a strat to let you shoot someone when they're falling back with it.
That's cool.
Which is hilarious.
With just any grenade
with
launcher.
any weapon. You can shoot a unit can shoot a unit that falls back.
That's tasty.
Yeah, but it's hilarious if it's a their item. If you tag a tank, it falls back.
Or a Dreadnought. Like,
yeah.
Tag a Redemptor, it's got to cover hell there. Bah, gotcha. Although I don't know why the Redemptor would be falling back, but yeah whatever.
So they're cool. I like them. I've played them a couple of times. And specifically why I like them is that they let the army double down on letting the army play as independent units, which is the way I like Custodes to be. And then finally, this is one that you picked earlier that we were talking about, which is the Emissaries Imperatives.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Oh, yes, it is.
You did.
No, sorry, because we did the Auric one first, which is the doubling down on the durability, which I thought was just crazy. The Auric Shield one.
We had a look at that one as well.
Yeah.
But this is the one
this one's cool. This is, if I was ever going to play Custodes or write a list,
we basically wrote a list earlier.
We actually did, and we're going to try. We're going to test, because it's
we're going to pick up a few different sisters units, but it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious.
Emissaries Imperatives.
Very skewed.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Yeah.
Emissaries Imperatives. Their shield host style is Heralds of the Throne. So these are the ones that were sent out with the Torchbearer fleets to essentially turn up Space Marine chapters who weren't happy with Primaris and go, the Emperor's on board with this, so you better be too.
So is this like post Indomitus or pre Indomitus?
They were sent out.
When I say Indomitus, I mean the Crusade going out.
They existed before that as like the emissaries of the Emperor, but essentially because
so these were the ones that rounded up the sisters.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
they were on terror for 10,000 years and not doing anything.
And these were the ones that were kind of sneaking off and doing their own thing as well, right?
No, those are a different subgroup as well.
It's like all the subgroups that I watch.
You should know this. This is all from novels. It's not in the.
No, I know that.
Stuff.
I read a lot of novels. The little details is hard, but like, yeah. Sorry.
But these are the guys who essentially they went along with the Primaris Marines, went along to like all the chapter masters and stuff who weren't happy and said, "You better be happy. You're getting a Guardian Spear right down the face."
Well, I guess it's legitimizing Primaris at that point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a big hand wave to make sure that no one really rejected them.
But because they were, right? They were literally going, nah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, yes.
Yeah. They're like,
okay.
Nah.
Their traits are fight first.
Whole army-wide fight first.
Yeah. Nice.
So cool.
And then you can ignore any or all modifiers to hit and wound rolls.
Oh, I didn't even read that part.
Yeah, I know you didn't.
It's my god, I didn't even read that part.
Now, things like transhuman...
Because we just spoke about
the first bit. But that second bit's great. You ignore all modifiers to hit and wound rolls. Now, this means that you're always hitting on 2s and always wounding on whatever you would wound on. The exception being things like transhuman, because you're not modifying the wound roll, you're just ignoring natural...
It's bypassing that step, yeah.
Exactly. But for any modifiers, +1, -1s, all that kind of stuff, you ignore it.
Right into Drukhari, or any Eldari.
Yep. And it's written you can ignore, so you can add benefits to them. If you can add +1 to wound from somewhere, which is a couple of ways to do, you can still benefit from it.
Oh, so they ignored on themselves as well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they ignore, as in they ignore things that they attack with.
Oh, but sometimes okay, that's a good trade-off.
It's written as can ignore any and all modifiers to the hit and wound roll. This is when they're attacking.
Oh, okay, that's how they get around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that has occasionally been written as must, which means you can't buff them either.
That would have been actually cooler.
For Custodes, no.
Okay, maybe not for Custodes. Yeah, I just think from a rules balance point and for kind of anyway, whatever. That's even cooler. Like these guys even more. Oh my god, I want to do it.
So that's their strategy Into the Darkness, which is a 2 CP or 3 CP if it's more than 4 models.
Oh, okay. But still flat, but base 2.
Base 2. It's start of the first battle round, you select a core unit and it makes a normal move as long as it ends more than 9 inches away from enemy models.
Okay. That's not that great. I
mean, if you're running Black Cities,
it's super situational, right?
Running Black Cities, 14-inch per game move.
Yeah.
It's before the first battle round.
A 2 CP
bar. It's at the start of the first battle round. So if you're going first and you're like, this needs to happen, bikes, done.
Maybe actually could be a good move block if you've got a big unit.
Yeah. So it feels like it's a little situational, but if it is, and that's why it's a strat, right? If it's useful, you spend your 2 CP.
It's a bit expensive with 2 CP.
Exactly, yeah.
For a pre-game move, 2 CP, it's like, that's a massive
cost. If it's
cost.
6 bikes, it's 3 CP.
Ooh, yeah.
But if it's clutch...
I guess it depends on the matchup too, right?
Yeah. Their Warlord trait is Voice of the Emperor.
Please be good.
Add 3 inches to Warlord's aura abilities. Yeah. And then it has the following ability, Voice of the Emperor. It can tell either a Custodes or Sisters unit within 9 inches to add 1 to leadership, which is going to come up so much for leadership 11 Custodes.
I mean, yeah. So they're leadership 12. There's some books that they're slowly... I mean, look.
It helps Sisters.
If they want to do it, right, make it a thing and make certain weapons or buffs or whatever. This is to Games Workshop directly. If you want to make leadership a thing, literally have like a gun that does neg 4 leadership. You know, like take the numbers to a whole level where it actually matters, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're like, what the fuck? And this is what's so annoying is that like, this is what normally happens is you have you rarely get the full payload, right?
Mm.
It's one good thing, or it's 3 out of 4, or it's 2 out of 3, or it's 2 out of 4. You're never getting 4, you know, which probably is a good thing. It's probably fine. But then sometimes you get this one where it's like the trait is amazing, but the other things just suck ass.
Yeah.
And you're like, ugh.
Well, see, look, the thing is, for the strats, I'm not that worried about it. It's kind of nice. The other strats that we've got in, like the universal ones, are pretty good.
Yeah.
And Warlord traits, there are some good Warlord traits.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be one of them. There's still some good ones.
Is the Relic good?
The Relic, Halo of the Torchbearer. The bearer has the following ability.
It's got a lame name, so it's probably
while a friendly unit is within 3 inches, it ignores all modifiers to its move, advance, and charge rolls. That's kind of useful.
So ignoring different ground.
Yeah, and or any other modifiers to any sort of movement.
Okay.
And then at the start of the fight phase, you roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 3 inches of the model. On a 3-up, it's 1 mortal wound, or d3 if its leadership is 7 or less.
Yeah.
So,
kind of. I mean, okay, that counters the
it counters
forearm,
Tanglefoot grenades.
yeah, but also so the mirror, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right, and also in four-armed Emperor, their power, which is basically half advance rolls. Oh, sorry, minus 4 to something to advance rolls, half movement, and then neg 2 to charge or whatever.
Yep.
So that would just negate literally all that. That power is literally useless.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So look, if I'm taking this, I might put that relic on someone. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the point, right? The host. I nearly said the Solarwatch. The shield host. That one's designed to get into combat and get in there as quick as possible.
Yes.
Well, it seems to be, right?
So you get in there hard, fast, and kill stuff.
You would probably.
So I feel like that works with that. And again,
can you build one of them into a missile? Like an absolute mass damage missile?
Oh,
yeah. So that's what you put him on that, because you're like, I can just go anywhere now and I don't care.
Yeah. Mortal wounds out there, it's great.
Yeah.
Alright, so then we come over to stratagems. I'm not going to go through every one of them. A few ones to note: Arcane Genetic Alchemy, which is a fantastic thing to try and say.
Cool name. So it's good.
1 CP / 2 CP if it's 4 or more models. It's interesting knowing that like half the strats that have this are like 4 or more models, and the other half are like 3 or fewer models. But
really?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. Okay. And it's transhuman. Can't be wounded on a 2 or a 3. Cool. That's going to come up fairly regularly. You've got things that mess with movement and stuff. Presidium Shield Wall is the new reason to take shields, given they no longer give you a 3-up involve. And that is, you spend 1 CP, 1-up save, yeah. 0-up in cover, it's great. 1 CP, -1 to hit in combat. Cool. That's nice.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That's interesting.
It's
I mean, it's
nice.
cool. Again, that's pushing you to... That's actually, no, I like that, because that feels like that's pushing you to use that unit for what that unit should be used for.
Yes, yeah, which is getting in combat and not moving.
Yeah, the design philosophy behind the unit.
Yeah,
cool. I like that.
There's Deathmark strat. So for Vigilators, which are the sword-bearing sisters,
the great swords.
Great swords.
We're going to come onto this at the end. I got a point about great swords.
So for 1 CP, you can deathmark a unit, and they roll hit rolls against that unit. Cool, I guess.
Cool. They're hitting on 4s, right? No,
No,
3s.
No,
3s,
shortly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a few other ones there. Other things to note would be
Tanglefoot hasn't changed.
Tanglefoot hasn't changed. It's still good. You've got all your standard strats for extra relics, extra warlord traits. You've got one that puts 2 warlord traits in the same character.
So can you do?
So you can be running 3 warlord traits in the game.
So usually, like I found with a few of the recent books, it's like one or the other, right? You can either double down on a single character, giving them 2 warlord traits or whatever, or it's giving.
Sorry, you can have 4.
Yeah, so you can
use this twice.
So you can have 4 characters with warlord traits.
You can have 3 characters with warlord traits, and one of them can have 2.
Wow, that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
But you can't give double relics?
No.
Okay, so far in my knowledge, Sisters is the only book that can do that.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Which
nice
is cool.
To show up here and there. You've got Eternal Penitent is still the same. Is in +1 attack, but you also get to reroll charge rolls.
I'm pretty sure this
is it
the way it always was.
Was it not +2 to charge?
No, pretty much was rerolls.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Cool. It's still good. 1 CP. I like it. Running it on a Contemptor Achilles. Very nice. Cool. Then you've got, what else have we got? Fraternity of Heroes I used a couple of times in our game. So check that out. It was a good one. So Fraternity of Heroes for 1 CP. Any unit that can't heroically intervene now can.
Oh yeah,
as in like you pick a unit. Or if it could heroically intervene, it can now do it 6 inches.
Yeah, that's dope.
It came up clutch a couple of times.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
And there was that other one too. The bikes that you use on the bike guys. Oh.
To shoot something.
Oh, the pistol one. The pistol one was pretty cool.
Pistol one.
Turning them into pistol 4 or not pistol?
No, that's a carter.
Oh,
that's a carter. Speaking of carters, Martial Discretion, 1 CP or 2 CP if it's 4 or more. You put in your command phase, you put a unit into a different carter.
Yeah,
very nice. So if for example you're running the Emperor's Chosen, you've got their strat to put them into a different shield host and therefore benefit from a different carter. Right, and there's a bit benefit from the different special carter.
Yeah,
you can be in that carter, so your entire army is benefiting from whatever carter you're in.
Yep.
Which is the same one. One of the units could be benefiting from both carters of that shield host. You're putting into a different shield host, they benefit from both.
Yep.
Right? As long as you're in that carter to begin with.
Yeah.
You can use this strat to put another unit into a different carter. Okay. And then you can use the Master of the Stances, which is a Captain Commander trait we'll get to make that unit use both of them.
So you can have 3 units doing both.
So you can have essentially you can have 3 different carter states units. You can have 1 unit. You can have 2 units using the full
both 1 and 2.
Both 1 and 2 of 2 distinct carters.
Yeah.
And then the rest of your army can be using one of the carters from one of the stances from one of those 2 carters.
Yeah. So we'll obviously cover.
You can be manipulating these
so
quite a lot.
You understand a little bit better what they actually are.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute.
We've totally just
It's the book. We're trying to go through the book, and it's laid out horrifically.
Yeah, because you think that as one of the core rules of the army would be at the very start with its faction-wide books. I mean, it's the same thing with the crossfire rules and all that. It's just not. It's just not in the same allocation. It's very strange.
Yeah. So the last one that I'll mention here, just because it's fun. There are a few others that are quite good. The last one I'll mention is Rapid Reactions. 1 CP. In your opponent's movement phase, when they fall back, you can immediately shoot as if it were the shooting phase.
That's what you were saying before, right?
Yeah, which is great. I've charged you with some bikes, and then your unit's falling back because I didn't kill you all, and you want to get out of there. Oh, here's 18 Hurricane Bolters. Sorry, as in which is 18 shot. No, it's 36 shots. Rapid firing. So here's 36 Hurricane Bolters to the back.
Yeah,
and this is the one you can use.
4 Hurricane Bolters, right? Sorry,
it'll be 3 Hurricane Bolters, which is.
It's 18 Hurricane Bolters.
18 rapid fire 1 shots.
Yeah.
But they're rapid fire 6. I'm all over the place.
I know what you mean. We all know what you mean. It's just funny. I'm now picturing a bike with 18 Hurricane Bolters like in a ring around it. 18 times 6.
It'd be like that guitar
whatever, 108 shots or whatever.
That guitar speaker truck in Mad Max just with Hurricane Bolters.
yeah, that's it. It feels like that feels something orky.
It does, yeah.
Right,
yeah,
like it's just a truck with a big speaker, and then as it's got the mesh thing on the front of the speaker too. Like,
yeah.
And then as soon as they shoot it, it just comes off,
just shreds it.
That's awesome.
But yes, that's cool. Yep. The bikes are good. Obliteratum's hilarious with that, which is the mini nuke relic. Yeah, the mini nuke for the Captain
Plus, right?
Yeah. So over to the Captain Commander traits.
Do you want to explain carters now?
No.
Okay. Because I feel like it's going to keep coming up, and we should tell everyone exactly how that works and what it is. even though it's not in order.
Right. So, all the way at the back of the book, 'cause it makes sense for them to be here, right before the data sheets. Martial cartas. They're not that complicated. They're weirdly difficult to explain, apparently, but they seem straightforward once you get it.
Apparently, meaning because other people have struggled to explain it, or you mean you've struggled to explain it?
Well, I'm about to try and explain it, so we'll see.
Okay.
So, essentially, there are 6 of them, and you've got 6 choices. You pick 3 of them. You pick them in an order, right? 1, 2, and 3. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Cool.
Seems pretty basic so far.
Yep. You start in the primary. Cool. You must then progress to the secondary, and then progress to the tertiary. Right.
Primary school.
You go 1, you go 2, you go 3. Good stuff, right?
Yep, we're there.
Cool. And then within each kata, there are 2 stances.
Okay.
You may, so whenever you move into one, you must select one of the 2 for that to be active for that turn.
Yeah, so you can't be like, I don't want any active for this turn, I'm going to choose it later kind of thing.
Yeah, you can't do that. You must start in one of the primary ones, and then when you select the next one, when you go to the secondary and then the tertiary, you must select a stance to be active.
Okay.
You may, rather than moving on to the next stance, to the next kata, choose the other stance from your current kata to be active.
Yep.
You cannot go back to a kata or stance you've already been in. That's it.
So that's stratagem.
So that stratagem you can go back with.
Yeah.
You can mess all about with that, which I think I did.
You did. Yeah. Just trying to clarify those things, because these things will come up with people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had to check that, because oftentimes they'll say you can't go back to one you've been in, or like you can't choose a thing you've already done, but you can in this case.
Yeah, so there's a few things where with these new books, and whoever Games Workshop editor is, who's insane, just manages to make these problems difficult for everybody and not explaining it out. So there's been a whole lot of times where people are just misunderstanding the rules. So.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we do too. It happens. Like everyone does it.
So that's the way the katas work. We'll go over specific katas when we get to them. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, I'm here now. Yeah. So I'll mention the katas that are worth mentioning. Callistus is the one that Solarwatch get, so I use that a fair bit. The first stance, the first option you've got for them, is when you advance, you roll 2d6 and discard the lowest.
Perfect.
Or actually, discard one of them. Now, I don't know why you would ever choose the lower one, but you can if you want.
Why would you ever choose the lower one? Because it's not you have to move, it's up to that movement.
Yeah, I have no idea. But rules as written, like there's no, it doesn't specify you must take the highest roll.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is just interesting to note, because oftentimes it specifies you keep the highest or something.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting way they've worded it.
Look, I play Kraken in Jinx in Tyranids, and 3d6 charge, picking the highest, that's right. Advance is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And then stance 2 is each time you make a normal move or advance, you count as stationary in the following shooting phase, which is nice. So
they're both pretty good.
Yeah, they're both good, and they're in it's the Solarwatch's special martial kata that they're good at. And essentially, it means that at any point using this kata, either in stance 1 or in stance 2, you may opt for that turn to have both active instead. It doesn't use both of them. You can still spend 2 turns in the kata, but one of those turns you'll get both benefits, and the other turn you'll only get one. Yeah. Which is nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that one seems really geared towards shooty build.
Yes.
Because of the moving without penalties and stuff.
And then the advancing works really well with the Solarwatch because they've got the extra for advancing.
Exactly.
So you roll in 2d6, they're moving up fast, then you can be stationary if you want because you're using it twice. So you're moving up fast, you're shooting a bunch of stuff. You've got the Warlord Trait to let someone charge as well. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. Other ones that are pretty cool, Conservi, which I haven't used yet. That's the Emissaries Imperatives.
I'm gonna like this one.
The first stance is you can perform an action in a turn in which you advanced or fell back.
That's awesome.
And
that's so amazing.
Stance 2, while it's performing an action, it can shoot without that action failing.
Yeah, same stance with us. It's amazing.
It's great.
We have the same.
Weirdly enough, you're not going to use them at the same. They're not really useful for the same unit at the same time because you can't shoot after advancing or falling back. But there are ways to make that happen.
I was going to say, yeah, you've got
strats and things to fall back and shoot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But across your army, it means that you can be, you have 6 banners going at once, for example, which is kind of cool.
Super cool. I mean, we haven't really seen exactly.
Depends on the new missions.
Is this going to come out before Thingo?
This will be coming out as the pre-order goes up.
Yeah.
So the pre-order for the new missions pack in the new.
So right now season. We won't know how this could be really powerful, if depending some of the action secondaries that change.
Or super redundant.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it could go both ways.
But yeah, and look, I've said from the get-go, being able to action and still do stuff is great.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite Necron command protocols to be in. So it lets you do so much, and this is just better in every way.
It also helps if you've got the models that can, weather that action, i.e., super durable troops.
Exactly.
That are like essentially double obsec.
Yeah.
They are double obsec. They can, move on to objective action, stand there, and they're not going to die. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really good.
So that's, I suppose one other card I'll go over would be...
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever. Move on if you want to. They get it now.
Plenty of people have gone over it,
yeah.
They're cool. I'll have a read through them. Some of them are useful, some of them are less useful.
Yeah.
The one other thing I'll mention, you talked about them being situational a bit, but I think that's kind of the point. Because you choose them after seeing your opponent's army as you go to set up and deploy.
That was the killer for me, that one.
Yeah, so you can choose, they are situational individually, but you're not using all of them. You don't have to have any given ones. You're choosing the ones that best suit your army in that matchup. You don't have to choose the special one for your shield host. You can choose the others.
Don't know why you ever would though.
Because the one if your shield host one is the action one and you're playing a mission where you don't want to do any actions, you don't choose it. You choose 3 different ones instead.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's just no need to really.
Yeah. So flexibility is what I'm hearing in medieval.
Yeah, and that I'll come back to it again. That's where I think the depth in the book is in the flexibility you can give individual units
and the redundancy, right?
And the redundancy, yeah. But as far as like the depth of how you play them,
yeah.
The strength comes from the redundancy, really. Alright, so the Captain Commander traits, they are like your point. You pay points for upgrades to characters. You've got
your Chapter Master, your Apothecary, your
all that kind
Master
of stuff.
Forge, that whatever.
In this case, you've got 3 traits you can give to each of the types of captain, but they're all locked to specific kinds. I'll just go over a couple of them. The Guardian Shield Captain, so this is the regular Shield Captain on foot. There's 3 of them. The one I'll go over is Master of the Stances, because I've mentioned it. And again, this is manipulating the carters. He tells a unit, which is core or character, within 6 inches to benefit from both carters. But both stances of the carter they're currently in. Which is cool.
Yeah.
It's just manipulating
that's like you did say
if
before.
If you've got the strat to put a unit into a different carter.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You can give it both of that carter as well.
That's really cool. And that is just perfectly doubling down on that flexibility right there.
That's exactly
that's so situational in a situation where you, whatever it is that you need this unit to do this thing, I can't do that. Oh wait, hold on, I actually can because I've got to.
Exactly. The Alaris Shield Captain, which is the Terminator one. He's got a few. None of them really stand out to me. Bane of Abominations is kind of cool.
Cool name.
Which is just if you're attacking a monster, vehicle, or character, +1 to wound.
That is super good.
Yeah, especially it's 15 points. It's good.
Oh, what was the cost of the other one, by the way?
25 points. For Master of the Stances.
Okay. That's
it's not an auto take.
No, not at all for that price. No way.
But I think it's a good price for it because it makes it a kind of choice.
Yeah.
It's very good.
And you said it's once per turn, right?
Once per turn, so you do it every turn.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I still like it. 25 points is still a useful trait, but it's not an auto take, which is good. If that was 15 points, you'd be every time.
Is that the most expensive one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Virtus Praetor Shield Captain, the jet bike one. It's got a few tip of the spear. Everyone's talking about it. 15 points.
I know this one very well.
Reroll 1s to hit and wound after he charges. Piles in or heroically charges, heroically intervenes. You can reroll hit and wound rolls of 1. Cool.
For himself.
For himself, yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool that I like that you don't just lose that you have to pay points for it, but at least still having it makes a lot of sense that custodians, captains who can do stuff, will be able to get that.
I've been playing around with the idea of using Master of the Stances from the other character onto him, so you can do a core character. Put him into whatever stance best suited to the melee he's about to go into, because there's a few of those. CP to put him into a stance, give him both, shoot him up the board, and just wreck face.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I just remembered that one, the Master of Stances, that can't go on the bike.
He can't take it, but he can be given it.
No, but he can't take,
Yeah, he can't take it. Warlord traits, there's some for Sisters, some for Custodes. They're kind of fine.
I thought you said they were good ones.
There are. They're all solid.
Okay.
There are none of them that I really read and go, I would never take this.
Okay.
But there's none of them that I read that I go, this is an auto take, which is also good. It's where I want my free upgrades to be. You think about them, you choose the one that best suits the way you're playing.
Yeah. Or your list construction.
Yeah, the way you're playing. Yeah. So you've got, command point rerolls. You've got to deny the witch. The only way in a pure Custodes army to get deny the witch is Warlord Trait number 4, Impregnable Mind.
Anywhere on the board?
As if it were a cycle model, so it's still a 24-inch range, but you get +1 to the roll. Cool. And it also makes them count as 2 additional models on top of the 2 they already are for OBSEC, or for objective capturing. Okay. That's more situational, I think, but still, look, it's kind of cool.
So like a bike captain would count as
like 4 models, I think.
Models.
Yeah. So, all right, that's cool. You've got a few different buffs and things, and then the list of named characters getting specified ones. Cool. Trajan Valoris gets 2.
So, is there any like super real mad killy one that's like, oh, okay, this is great.
You've got heroic intervention stuff. Unmodified wound roll of 6 to mortal wound on target, and then you cannot reroll saving throws against these attacks. So kind of cool, but again not.
So these 2 books are definitely written together.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but there's little mirrors back and forth.
Yeah.
Then there's 3 for the Sisters, which is fair enough because you can only ever have 3. Oh no, I suppose. Yeah, you can only have you can only ever get up to 3 Sisters characters with Warlord traits.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you can have all 3 of them on the board if you want. And like there's kind of some combat ones which are kind of meh because it's a Sisters character.
Yep.
There's leadership ones, and you can lose OBSEC. That's a good one.
That's cool. Yep.
So within 3 inches, you don't lose OBSEC.
That's very clutch.
Yeah. Which makes the leadership modifier, which is subtract 1 from combat attrition, like doesn't matter, but it's less of a blow to be taking that as a Warlord trait because you're also getting lose OBSEC.
Yeah, well, you can just scribble out that line and it wouldn't matter, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So moving on to relics, there's some kind of cool stuff here. Obliteratum, we've mentioned it a few times. It's hilarious. Pocket nuke. It's a ballistic grenade launcher, which is the captain, which is the Terminators, so Terminator captain. 18 inches, assault 1, strength 10, -4, D3 +3. Hilarious.
Stronger than a las cannon.
It's hilarious.
Like, it's hilarious, but at the same time, in what world?
It fires concentrated
Obviously,
antimatter, compressed within splinter glass canisters that shatter upon him. It's an antimatter grenade he's firing, essentially.
It's like a vortex grenade.
No,
sorry, vortex grenade is a
it's
water thing.
It's an antimatter grenade. That's hilarious.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, that kind of makes sense now.
Yep.
I get it.
Praetorian Plate is the other one. Praetorian Plate and Castellan's Mark are the other 2 I'll mention. Praetorian Plate you give to a Terminator. Add 1 to toughness.
Cool. Oh, okay.
Alright. And then once per battle in the heroic intervention step of your opponent's charge phase, you can teleport Shunt to within 3 inches of one of your models and in engagement range of an enemy model.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So you can have him kicking around in your back line. You guys are up there charging.
That's mad support for like a failed combat.
Yeah, you're up there, you guys being charged. You're like, oh, that's a combat that needs to go my way. Boom, teleport him. That's cool.
And then it's also you need a unit to have a little bit more reliability from a buff from the reroll ones or whatever, or those kind of things. Like, I need that. Or, yeah, exactly.
So it works really well if you want the captain on the board buffing some shooting units, but you're teleporting your Terminators in. They're sitting there, they're like, we'll get charged next turn. We don't care because our captain is going to teleport.
You can just do that to get out of dodge too, right?
You need to end within engagement range of an enemy model.
An enemy model.
And within 3 inches of one of your models.
Damn, because I was like,
so
imagine
there's a couple of specifications there.
If you could yeet it just to the backboard and be like, oh, I'm just going to hang out with Sagittarium now.
If you've just been charged by a Redemptor and you want to teleport to where like servitors are charging.
Oh, yeah. So you still can't use it the same way.
Yeah. And
the toughness is cool. And that is really cool.
It doesn't have to be within engagement range of a model that you're within 3 inches of. As in, the model that you teleport to, your model, that you're going to teleport to within 3 inches,
you're friendly,
does not itself have to be in combat.
No, but you need to end in combat.
Yes. Yeah. So you can absolutely use, if you've got models here that you don't want in combat,
you could like
and your enemy has models here they don't want in combat,
you could charge block them.
You can no, heroic intervention step is after the charge. Oh yeah,
no, you can charge block someone. Because if someone charges here and you know that they're getting charged and they're within the 3-inch charge over there that's happening somewhere elsewhere, you can be like, okay, now I'm zipping over there and literally put it right in between them and go, well, it doesn't matter because you're in combat. Yeah, and then you literally charge block.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is sick.
Yeah.
We're doing another one, you're going to take that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then Castellan's Mark, which it's a redeploy and strategic reserves and stuff. The reason I want to mention it is just because I thought it was cool. Because it's not a relic as a thing. It's not an object. It's a battle honor they get given.
Oh, yeah.
Which just from a concept is kind of cool.
So what does it do?
It's a redeploy. 2 units, redeploy, strategic reserves.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. Okay, so you've got some good relics, but 2.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of relics of the Vigil, which are for sisters. You can replace a Great Blade, you can replace a Flamer, and you can give them a 4-up invuln and -1 to hit and wound against them.
That's cool. That'd be good for you. If you were teching a little bit heavier into the sisters and you needed a character for a reason, that would be one for sure. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Chapter approved rules. You've got your 3 secondaries.
Are they all pooey?
Kinda. So there's Might of Terror, which is it's grind them down, but you can't lose any models, any units. Which would have happened.
You could.
It's 4 points, not 3.
You could tech into that with the Auric one. So the
you
shield.
can't take both of them together.
No, the shield host.
Oh, the shield.
Shield host. There's a shield host that we didn't cover, but that doubles down on durability, and it's like, whoa.
So you could definitely, even the Emperor's Chosen do that a bit with their 4-up
models. Yeah, but the other one's kind of just more general. Like it's just crazy tough.
So yeah, you could double down on that, and just be like, if you don't kill any of my units and I kill any of yours, I get 4 points. So it's kind of cool.
That'd be another interesting sort of, not skew, but another list build to try. I think like really doubling down on the durability side of some of the relic stuff, and then with that shield host and do that, see how well you do.
Yep. You got Stand Vigil, which is Battlefield Supremacy, which is like, you score 3 victory points if you control more objective markers than your opponent that are not within any deployment zones. So it's potentially better than Stranglehold, potentially much worse. It just depends on the mission.
So CA, chapter approved is going to dictate whether that's good or not.
And then Purge the Enemy, Auric Mortalis. I like this one. It's not great, but situationally it can be.
For matchup dependent for sure.
Yes, yeah.
For sure.
Auric Mortalis is Purge the Enemy. It's 5 so you choose a unit to be marked for death. It must be a Primarch or Supreme Commander. If they don't have Primarch or Supreme Commanders, then it's the highest point value unit that's not an aircraft.
Yeah. Hence why I said matchup, because like, for example, sisters, you're probably not killing more than Bar. No. You know, if it's you could be killing Morty.
But and the reason you wouldn't against those is the last sort of adjustment to points.
You have to do it in combat or whatever, right?
So you score 5 points if you kill that unit that you've marked.
Yep.
You score another 5 points if it was in combat. Alright. You score another 5 points if it was more than 6 inches from your deployment zone. But you lose 2 points for every unit that unit kills.
Yeah, overall you probably never really do. Like, in a competitive sense, you're never ever taking this ever. It's not that you would never take it, but you'd have to look at the list and go, against this list and this unit, it'll work. But only if it works. Yeah, but I think compared to other things that are more reliably scored, you just never take it.
I think it's worth checking your opponent's list for it, is what it's worth. Because you might, against the Tears of the Cult, for example, against your list, which you're running in the battle report, I'd probably almost always take that. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think I scored it max in practice game and on camera.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely doable against specific units and specific armies.
Yeah. Well, squishy GSC, they don't really have a lot of high-costed units.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you can tech it into a tank or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a way to do it, because you could use your Brood Brothers thing, or find a way to tech it in pretty hard.
The Bane Blade,
or the Malkador.
Yeah.
On its way.
Yeah. So that's it. Some Crusade rules. They're cool. Datasheet abilities. We've already gone over the Carters. Aegis of the Emperor gives a 4-up invuln save and a Feel No Pain of a 6+ for mortal wounds. It's better now because it used to be for mortal wounds caused by psychic. Now it's all mortal wounds.
Yeah, so everything's still got a 4-up invuln, yeah?
4-up invuln, everything, except the
No Dreadnoughts.
Forge World stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't. Oh, except Dreadnoughts and stuff, because they don't have Aegis of the Emperor.
Oh, really? They removed that from them now?
They didn't have it before.
Did they not?
No.
Right, okay.
So that's why I was rolling 5-up saves.
No, that's what I was saying. I was like, what?
Yeah, because they've got 5-up saves, except for the Galatus who has the
Yeah,
shield
who
for
has the 4, yeah.
Daughters of the Abyss is the Sisters of Silence USR.
Okay.
They cannot be targeted or affected by psychic powers. Just flat. They cannot be targeted.
Smite blockers.
So you run a string unit at the front, no smite against your army. Cool. For each time a test is taken for a unit that is within 18 inches of a Sisters unit, they get -1. And this stacks up to 3 times.
Oh yeah, because it's per unit. Yeah.
So with maximum of 3.
Yeah.
So you can have a -3 on psychic tests if there are 3 units within 18 inches.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's super cool. And that's how they should be.
Yeah.
They are nulls, so...
Yep. And they add 1 to wound against Psycho or Demon units.
Just
Just
combat.
Yeah.
Bob period, sorry, attacking.
Attack, yeah, so shooting and melee. Which is cool. That's how it should be. I like it.
Yeah.
And then there's the deep strike ability, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Datasheet wise, Leadership 11, Untitled Custodes, old news, cool. A few more wounds here and there. Shield captains have 7 wounds each. Terminator armor is 8 wounds, and bike is 9 wounds.
The 7 wounds on the normal dude, that's the shocker.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It should be. Like, Gravis captains have 6.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just like, well, it's a lot. It's like, it's a lot.
Yeah. Trajan Valoris has 8, even though he's a normal dude.
So Gravis Heroes have 6?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. That's a lot as well.
And then Valerian is a separate HQ choice now. Valerian and Alea are separate.
Yeah, you can take them.
Yep. The Blade Champion
is Valerian any good? Because I love those books.
He's melee ignores wounds that ignore wounds. Sorry, ignores rules that ignore wounds. So you can't 6 attacks. You can technically kill a Catan in 1 turn of combat with him. Or Gaskell.
Wait, why?
Because it ignores rules that ignores wounds. He's melee.
Ignores wounds. What do you mean ignores wounds?
That enemy model cannot use any rules to ignore the wounds it loses from its weapon.
Oh.
So no feel, no pains, no can't take more than 3 or 4 wounds this turn, no anything. No half damage, no -1. Yeah, because that's all been FAQ'd to be thing. No -1 damage, none of that.
No -1 damage.
I believe that was included in the FAQ.
But that's not a wound, that's damage though.
But it's anything that reduces wounds or does that, it was FAQ'd.
Oh, right.
Because technically the Catan doesn't ignore wounds lost, it doesn't lose any more wounds. But they FAQ'd it all to be ignore stuff.
There you go.
So there you go.
So that's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
What's his strength in that bar?
Strength 5, so 7 with that.
7 neg
so
4 flat
Catans
2.
on 3s.
I like him. I always have. He's
yeah, and you can't wound him on a 1 to 3. Permanent transhuman.
Dude, he good. That's good.
Blade Champion's pretty sweet.
And he's got 7 wounds as well.
Yeah, 7 wounds. So, because he's a shield captain, he's a dude.
Yeah.
Blade Champion's pretty sweet. He's got a bunch of attacks, 3 different profiles, and a sweet model provided building with 2 swords because it looks so much better.
Yeah.
Which they didn't advertise at all.
No.
But it's definitely in the kit and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Alea is cool now that she's separate. Another HQ, and the Knight Centura is the brand new generic HQ for Sisters. Alright. Generic HQs of factions are a big win. I don't care what they look like, I don't care like how their profile looks. They're a big win. Generic HQs. Yeah.
And that's
all I got.
Because there's just too many of them.
Yeah. Prosecutors are the sisters that are now troops.
Yep.
They're the Bolter sisters. Cool. Pretty squishy.
They're what, T3?
Strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 2 attacks, leadership 8, 3 up save. Cool. Otherwise...
So they're literally like Sisters of Battle.
Yeah,
exactly the
pretty
same.
much. Yeah, with psychic stuff. Then you've got all the Guardian Spears and Sentinel Blades were brought in line with each other, 2 damage. So +3 and +2 and... Strength 4, or... I'm looking at here.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the wrong profile. Sentinel Blades in melee are +1, Guardian Spears are +2, and then they're both -3 damage too.
So that would be
Cool.
strength 6 on the swords and strength 5 on the strength 7 on
the spears.
spears.
Yeah. That's cool. The dreadnoughts don't have the 4-up invuln. They just have the 5-up adamantic shielding. -1 damage, 6-up feel no pain built into them against everything.
The venerable one, yeah.
Venerable one, yep. Bikes are still
Exactly
fine.
the same, right?
They lost OBSEC, but
Yeah, but I mean,
all the infantry got it, so it's cool.
Yep.
Vigilators and Witch Seekers, the other 2 units of Sisters. Vigilators are great swords, they're elites, and Witch Seekers are flamers that are fast attack. They get a pre-game move, and so does their Rhino if they're in one. Cool. There's some tasty stuff you could potentially mess with there. And then you've got a Land Raider and a Rhino, and I wanted to mention the horrific cropping on these. I don't know if you can see this.
No, wait, you have to. The images.
Just the images. They are completely...
You know what? In the description... Oh, can we do it? No. In the first comment, we'll put a zoomed in...
We can't do it in comments, no.
Oh, can't we?
No, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to walk around to the camera. You're going to see me leave.
Come back.
Look at this. And this. It's not really focusing, but it's there and it's horrific.
Wait, it's because I'm in the shot. I only go this way.
No, you're fine, you're fine. The models, the model photography... The model photography is just... It's like, it's over bits and it's not over other bits. It's a mess.
It's weird because after Dalton noticed it, we went through...
And looked at the whole...
Nothing's
consistent.
There's no consistency with it.
The way
and now, I literally want to go through every single codex and see if there's any consistency at all within those photos. I mean, look, whatever. It's not really... Funny. It doesn't matter. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. Land Raider and a Rhino for the Sisters. Nothing new. It's all Sisters are in one book. It's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty much the book. You got any final thoughts?
I think there's some cool stuff. I think it's going to be... I think one of the reasons that is difficult for people, or that may be difficult for people, is kind of juggling all the cartas and stuff, and finding the best amount of utility. I think one of the reasons why you've had success with it is because, as you say, they're so similar to Necron protocols.
Yeah.
And you've got an abundance of experience with that.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'm just really excited about that Fight's first one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I want to try it out.
Yeah, just crazy combat, fast, heavy, get in combat as quick as possible. So,
So I've got a couple of negatives about the cartas, and then I'll move on to the positives and finish on a high note.
Yeah.
So the negatives are, as you said, they're complicated for new players to get into.
Yeah.
You've got... Custodes used to be they're durable, they're forgiving, you put them on the board, there's a lot of depth to the book, but you can just play them easily and get into it. Now they are quite complex to work through and think it through well. The upside to that is that they are still durable, they are still reliable, and still have masses of redundancy built in.
Yeah.
So you absolutely can put them on the field, not understand how the shield hosts or cartas work, and still play them well, and still have a good time with them.
Well, it's being penalised for the errors you make in game, right? So
yeah,
like
so
you can be out of position or whatever, and,
exactly.
and not be, thumped for it or,
or
made to feel it.
Penalty to misusing the cartas.
Yeah.
You just don't get the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Okay, that means that you can still pick it up and play.
Well, we said it's a low ceiling, high floor.
Other way around. Low floor, high ceiling.
Low floor, high ceiling.
And so that's my positive that I'll come to in a minute.
Yeah.
So the other negative is just a lore one, which is that the cartas and the shield hosts...
we spoke about this.
The rest of the book, I love that it makes all of the units feel individual. I'm not sitting there on the battlefield going, I need to make sure I've got my bubble, my castle around this character to do this. No, all the units are good on their own. They can go off, they do their own thing. All the buffs are usually built in to operate on a single unit. There's very few auras. It's all about single units going off and being mighty golden heroes of the Imperium, which is the way Custodes should play. But then apparently the entire army is locked into fighting one way for that turn, and then a different way the next, and you can't go back. So the only justification I've got for it, and the way I've sort of rationalized it, I think about it the same way you do in old real-time strategy games on computers and stuff, where you put different units into different stances. You put them into like an aggressive stance or defensive stance. You set them to patrol areas. You're doing stuff like that. And I kind of go, all right, it's kind of like that. You're setting your units to act in a certain way and behave in a certain manner. And then for ease of bookkeeping, because imagine if you had to set each individual unit like that.
Which would be
awesome, but a lot
so
of bookkeeping.
awesome.
And it'd take the other negative, which is complicated, and just dial it way up.
Yeah, so we had the idea is like no shield hosts, but you just have a list of ranked carders that you pick from, and like certain units might have a certain amount or point value that can assign, and you assign every unit a certain number of carders.
And you do this every turn for every unit.
Yeah, so there's like this one's in this one's in this one's in this.
It'd be like insane freedom to do stuff, and it'd be insanely complicated to keep books.
But it would be
awesome.
So cool.
But as far as that goes,
Army of Renown, Games Workshop do that for an Army of Renown.
Oh yeah.
And infantry only.
Infantry only.
Infantry only.
Every unit gets to select a stance of your choosing from any card.
Yes!
That'd be incredible every turn.
I'd be mad.
But it's that trade-off between you're representing this kind of cool idea, but you've got to make sacrifices to make it playable.
Yeah, of course.
It's otherwise it becomes, because that's cool. That's not the way to write a book that you want people to pick up and play.
No. And it probably would be very either underwhelming or lordly out of balance as well. It'd be very difficult. It's not how they've built the system.
Yeah. So in that sense, I go, well, all right, that's how I rationalize that. And then they have built in a bunch of ways to just manipulate the carters and the shield hosts, which I like, because it's kind of mitigating part of that.
It's a step towards it, as best as close as they can. You know?
Yeah. And then that touches on my big positive, which is the book is fun. It's good fun to play with. What about against?
It's annoying.
All right.
Just as like always, Custodes have always been like.
Are they less annoying with no 3-up involved?
Funnily enough, I don't know why, but I just feel like the bikes were. Nothing's really changed on them, has it?
The bikes lost OBSEC. Nothing else has really changed. No. For some reason, they just felt less oppressive, like less, like they were easier to kill or something like that. I'm not sure. Like they're obviously less annoying because of no 3-up invos and no 4-ups across the board, like for the dreadnoughts and all that, like they used to have. So, obviously there's a bonus there. And I think you should mention the whole Forge World balance thing. As of the recording of this, they haven't FAQ'd the Forge World things to bring them in line yet. They will, obviously.
Yeah.
They'll get the infantry will get the carters. The Aegis of the Emperor will transfer across properly. I don't think the dreadnoughts will, because they don't in the main book. They'll keep their 5-ups.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's what they should be on, because they're already ridiculously tough. That'll be about it. They'll just get the shield host keywords properly, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's more the key for the infantry one, because
So as of the recording of this and the battle report, they haven't FAQ'd it.
Yeah.
In the battle report, we played it as if they had, because it's going to happen.
Yep.
It may happen before the report goes out. Who knows?
Just play with a bit of common sense and a bit of logic, really.
Yeah, look, if you're going to a tournament, be aware it hasn't been FAQ'd.
Speak to your TO about it, or
otherwise, chat with your mate. Don't be a dick.
100%.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun to play. It feels like Custodes.
So the thing,
I like manipulating it, sending off units to do their own thing.
The other thing that I did notice playing against it a few times is that it felt, and this might have been because you picked Solarwatch, but it felt faster and you were kind of more in places.
Well, that's why I picked Solarwatch, because it doubles down on that ability to maneuver and be around.
But also because of the carters, like it's not. I do feel, and look, I've played Custodes I think like 5 or 6 times, and I've always felt that they were very kind of sit, plonk, do that, and that's really it.
Yeah,
kind of quite boring army play, to be honest.
There's
previously, where this time it was because of carters, because of the obviously the changes of stratagems and all these other bits and pieces. Felt like they had a game to be fast. Again, pick Solarwatch, yada yada yada. They might be different if you're picking something else. Who knows? But it felt like the redundancy thing and the answer for every trick. And even when, like, as Jinx was like, I had tricks, but then you're like, oh no, but I've got my tricks, and it was like tricks on tricks. So it was fun. Like I said, even if you've watched the bat rep, I said in our conclusion and our summary that even though it was still just a great game to play. We
played 2 almost identical games back to back.
Yeah, nearly.
And it was great fun.
And a turn.
Yeah. And an extra
turn. A game and a turn.
Yeah. 2 games and a turn.
2 games and a turn.
Half a turn. Oh yeah, play a turn. Yeah.
Crazy.
But it was a lot of fun. And that's... The book feels good. It's definitely not Admech Drakari. It's probably not even Grey Knights.
It's Death Guard.
It's Death Guard. It's quality.
And GC's the same. They're both. Yeah. I put them on par with Death Guard, and in my opinion, Death Guard is the best written book of Ninth Edition.
Yep.
It's just internally balanced the best. It's externally balanced quite well. Even now, still holding up. They're still getting podiums. Like, yeah, okay, they're not winning in tournaments, but they've got a game in everything. And I feel that this book will stand up the same for the remainder of the edition. I don't think you're going to see it drop off massively, and it looks like there's a lot of builds in it. There's a lot of variety in it. There's a lot of fun to be had for new players with it too, I think.
Yeah, so it's a low skill floor and a high skill ceiling because of the adaptability of the carters and the shield hosts and the way that they all work together.
Veteran Custodes players, I reckon, it'll take them maybe, I don't know, a month or something.
But they'll have to adjust,
and they'll find the tricks of how to get it all working. And I reckon you'll see Custodes do really well.
That's the thing. The book seems fairly...
Until Eldar come out, obviously, because that would break the whole game.
But the book seems fairly meh level when it comes out. Maybe a bit underwhelming because it's not the massive damage buffs that everyone else seemed to get and that sort of stuff.
On face value, yeah.
But...
I mean, I said that. Like, originally the carters, I was like, nah, they seem a bit meh. And then you kind of look at the whole package and everything
you
together.
Look at them, you play them, you see how they work, and you go, oh, hello, there's
okay.
some stuff to happen there.
Someone's actually put the brain to it.
So I'm looking forward to trying out a bunch of different shield hosts, really playing around with different strats and things I can do there. And seeing what I can get out of the army.
And we have more Custodes on the way.
We do.
Yeah, so we're going to be expanding our range and trying to showcase pretty much everything possible.
Well, thank you guys for watching.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this one, make sure to like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff.
Come join our Discord.
That's great.
Come join our Patreon if you want to help us out. Big thanks to all our Patreon. Big thanks to Tim at Dice Arcade. Big thanks to Think Loud Creative and all the people that we work with.
Yep.
You're all amazing.
Absolutely. Make sure to check out the Gene Stealer Cult Codex review we've got up alongside this one and the Bat Rep and all that kind of stuff. And don't forget, if you want to win either of the books, brand spanking new, straight from Dice Arcade.
In the plastic.
Still in plastic.
Not that one.
Not this one. This is ours. It's mine. But if you want to win them, make sure to jump over to the Battle Report.
On YouTube.
It's got to be the Battle Report itself.
Yep.
Make sure to comment, be subscribed, comment on that one, tell us which book you'd like to win, and just for fun, you don't have to do it to enter, but because we want you to, jump down there, tell us why you like that army. What's cool about it.
Yep. Or as well, jump in the Discord, come chat to us about it there. We've got a 5 or 6 Custodes players in our Discord. There's a lot of us. So there's going to be a big, and there's even 3 GSC players in there. So
there is.
There's going to be a big Custodes discussion, I think, for quite some time, for a few months.
And we're doing a slow grow, or what's it called? Yeah, slow grow league. So if you're getting into Custodes or Genes to the Cults, jump in there, get involved, pay up, pay a few units every month, have a grand old time.
Come join the league.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye bye.